every member of the public, you know, at some point at least, gave up an awful lot on the orders of the government. And to discover just this drip of facts that keep coming out from Downing Street is very ugly indeed. And I don't think I don't know, maybe it will get uglier. But this news today on the front page of the Telegraph of the Downing Street party on the eve of the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh, it must be about as low as you can go on this, because it just reinforces this fear that all along we were being told to do things that the people telling us and doing the telling didn't really follow. And that is terrible, because across this country, so many people, I wouldn't have thought there's a household that didn't suffer firsthand, as you say, really egregiously over the last 18 months. We all know people who lost relatives and they were told they couldn't sit by their bedside as they were dying. People going into the few operations that happened, people going in alone. And then, of course, all absolutely symbolized by Her Majesty the Queen mourning alone in the chapel with nobody on either side of her. And so it's just terrible for the government. I do worry, though, and I think a lot of people will share this worry, that there's this great momentum behind this story. And it's understandable because it's just so terrible. But there's a lot of momentum behind this story. And here's the problem with it. Boris Johnson is the only Prime Minister who said, and plausible candidate for Prime Minister, who said he would get Brexit done and actually took us out of the European Union. He solved what looked like a non-constitutional constitutional crisis of epic proportions. He actually solved that. And so a lot of us have a degree of sympathy for him for that. And I notice the push against him in recent days, particularly from people who, of course, wished he hadn't done that. There's one other problem, however, which is this. All this talk of Boris can't stay, is his position becoming untenable and so on, raises another question, which is, what are you going to do about it? And that's the question for the Conservative Party. And that's why I don't particularly like this talk about Boris Johnson at this point, because I don't know about you, but my suspicion is, Mark, that the great British public don't feel very warm about Boris at the moment, but they're not going to think much warmer about the Conservative if at this stage in the game they decide to have another knifing, another leadership contest, and end up giving us Prime Minister Jeremy Hunt.